Welcome back to Self Revelations. It's your boy B-Dab.
And I am Juan Moreno.
Man, Juanavelli. Look how we started and look where we at, boy.
Yeah, it's a little bit different now.
We got the logo. We got all our stuff up. Shout out to my boy Jesse. Got us the little mannequin thing, you know.
That looks hella cool, though. I love it. I love it.
You know, big shout out to my cousin. He hooked me up with some gear, you know, present gift.
Nice.
Went and picked it up yesterday. Or actually, he came and dropped it off yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're just shooting game to me, shooting advice. You know, he does his thing at the podcast at the BSP, and you know, just putting me up on game on a lot of stuff. So, I just appreciate you, Cuzzo, and you know, shout out to them boys. But besides that, how you been? How's this past week of COVID been for you?
I know, bro. Really, yeah. To having COVID, it is serious and it is contagious. That's one thing I'll say. But it wasn't that bad. I mean, for me, I just have like a lingering cough, but. I mean, I had a fever, you know, fever, cold, nose got stuff, you know, headache, whatever. But it wasn't as bad as I mean, they were kind of even talking about it like it's not, you know, it's not like the Delta variant or it's not, you know, like the beginning state, like when the pandemic happened, like the COVID itself. But, you know, it's a different strain, you know, it keeps morphing to different, you know, variants and all that stuff. But I think like I'm doing better. I just have a cough, but it's crazy, man, because you don't even know anymore. Like if you get we used to just get sick, right, and you have like a fever or a cold or the flu, and it wouldn't really be as dramatic, you know. You kind of like, okay, I'm sick. Now it's like, oh, is this COVID? Like it kind of like, oh, is this, you know, am I, you know, is this diabetes? Is this like, you start like, is this cancer? Like you start thinking the worst now, or at least for me, like speaking for me, like with COVID going on and stuff like that, it has me now evaluate like my body more, and I'm like more health conscious. Like, hey, like what's that? Is, you know, my family has, you know, a history of diabetes and, you know, hypertension, high blood pressure and all that stuff. And sometimes I start thinking to myself like, man, am I having, you know, diabetes? Is this it? Is this pre-diabetes? And then it'll just be a fucking cold. But it'll be something so simple, and I overthink like, bro, I'm about to die. But it's really something so simple, and that's the craziest thing. You know what? Thinking about that, I mean, it's kind of off topic. I'm going already. But, you know, I realized with this whole pandemic and then you going to go play for the Bay Area Panthers. I know at the time, I think they weren't Bay Area Panthers, right? They were
the Oakland Panthers.
Yeah,
it was
right?
Oakland.
And the pandemic happened. How did the pandemic, you know, impact you when it came to, you know, starting your career with football with the Panthers?
So it just so happened that it started like right when we got out of camp. So it was like talks and stuff like about, you know, possibly ending the season and all these different possibilities, right? And, you know, once we got to the end of camp, you know, it made cuts, whatever it may be. And I think it was our head coach had Coach KB had got COVID towards the end. And there was talks that the season might get canceled, yada yada. They ended up canceling the season only for the teams in California. So everybody outside of California got to play in their seasons except for us. You know, we were a new and expanding team,
right? So
we didn't get to play. And then I think the San Diego Strike Force didn't get to play either. But everybody else got to play. They played a full 16-game season at the peak of COVID. So it was pretty crazy.
How was that mentally for you though? Like, cause you know. How long has it been since you played ball?
It was hard, honestly. I'm not even gonna cap and act like it wasn't. It was tough, bro. Because at the end of the day, like, you know, I already had been sitting out. At the time, I had been sitting out for, you know, close to 2 years, and since 2019. So. When it got canceled, I'm like, bro, just another year. And it just happens. It was my rookie season. So, you know, just had to take a few steps back to, you know, get to where we are now.
Man, that's crazy. I can imagine that because people don't realize how the pandemic and this last few years has impacted a lot of people. There's a lot of good that comes out of it too, but then obviously there's a little, problematic things that happen to people in their life, like losing a loved one for, having not having COVID, but for having like underlying issues, and then COVID was like the finisher. Like to, at the beginning I wasn't really so sure about COVID. Like I kind of was, still I wanted to have fun. I'll still go out to eat, whatever, until they started like closing down, and now it's starting to get more. Now it's kind of like getting fully back open. But how it does impact people, especially their mental health. Like you see a lot of all these new apps being created for breathing and exercising and meditating. Like they're putting this big push towards like mental and physical fitness and health. And I think that's one of the best things I believe that's coming from COVID. Like I got introduced to so many like, good apps, like because of this whole pandemic. One of my favorite apps that I've been using for the last week is called Balance. And that app has been helping me tremendous with my anxiety and like my panic attacks, or like building a panic attack basically. Because the more I feel you let like the anxiety linger, the more that it'll build towards a panic attack. So yeah, the Balance app has been good for me because you could go towards like different meditations and they'll walk you through it. Like they'll like kind of help you, think about your thoughts when you're sitting down, because you don't really need music. You don't really need a lot to meditate. All you really need is just, not even the most quietest area. You just, turn off your phone. I mean, you don't have to turn off your phone, but
you gotta be focused, right?
Yeah, you gotta be focused. Like don't have the TV running, or put your phone on do not disturb. Put like a timer for like 10 minutes and just let it play out, and you just be able to sit down, think your thoughts through. But with that Balance app, it like helps you walk through of walking through the motions of labeling your thoughts and feeling the sensations in your body to be able to be in tune and to be at being in the moment, to be able to like declutter your mind and slow things down so that you could think things through and giving yourself that peace that you need, because there's a lot of stuff going on.
Facts.
So you're always like you don't know. Sometimes you forget how it feels to focus on one task, because you're like multitasking, doing a whole bunch of things, and sometimes after a while it kind of builds like the anxiety or those thoughts that you don't work through.
Yeah, facts. And do you think, because I you just talked about, stuff that helped you, the app that helped you. Do you think with the pandemic, it's bringing people more aware of, physical health? So the mental health aspect of it, do you think a lot of people like started taking their mental health a lot more serious, being indoors and not being able to go outside and see the world? And did you think that basically helped them to focus on that a little bit more and be like, oh, this is real, like mental health is real?
Yeah, I could definitely speak for myself. Like it has really had me double down since the first time I got COVID. I really realized how important it is to I really realized how important it is to take time for yourself to really find the things that are really important to you, like what your priorities.
Yeah, facts.
And some of your main priorities really is your mental and your physical health. Especially with COVID, it attacked a lot of the people that weren't the most fit or healthy, and not the best, haven't really worked on their mental health. So when all this stuff went on, I started realizing how important it was to be prepared, or put my body in the best position to be able to fight off any disease or any sickness, because that's what our body is constantly doing, is healing itself, protecting us, and fighting bacteria, good or bad bacteria, and diseases that you know, that is basically helping us keep us alive.
Yeah.
So
Facts.
I realized, like, when I during this whole pandemic, how important it is to really, really take care of yourself.
Mm.
Like, cause you're all you got. You are the main character in your story. Like, if you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of nobody.
Mm.
It's kind of like, if you don't love yourself, man, you can't love nobody else. It'll be hard.
Yeah.
So with the whole pandemic, it really taught me, like, how important it really is for your physical and mental health.
Yeah, because your body's your temple, bro. At the end of the day, you know, like you can't, you know, that's for encouraging. You can't. It's hard to encourage somebody else when you're not taking care of your body. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't influence. Like I can't influence my nieces and nephews to develop a healthier way of living if I'm overweight, if I'm not working out, if I'm not doing the things that I'm preaching. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But, you know, in that aspect, you know, in the mental health aspect, yeah, like, you know, I felt some of those same emotions, you know, like, you know, trying to like get used to not seeing people on the freeway and being indoors. And mind you, I'm a homebody anyway. I stay home the majority of the time anyway. You know, I don't really party too much. You know, when I do, it's, you know, I don't do nothing too crazy. But, you know, being indoors and then not being allowed to leave is different than just being indoors by choice. You know what I'm saying? So it was driving me crazy. Like, dang, like it got to the point where I didn't even feel like playing video games, bro. Like 2K and shit. I didn't even feel like doing it because I'm like, because I'm a gamer, bro.
Right.
I knew that it got bad when I was like, bro, I've been playing this all week. I don't feel like doing it no more. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it was crazy.
I think, yeah, like especially when you feel like your like freedom is being taken away from you in some sense, that, oh, you know, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't go out to eat at, you know, at this time, whatever. Like that's one of the most craziest things to hear, because it really, really makes you feel like closed out, and you feel like you're not free. That's one of the main things that like us humans, you know, at the end of the day want to be, is to be free. So if you don't feel free, you feel trapped.
Yeah.
And so that kind of like, it plays a toll on you too, if you don't know how to handle that, or if you never experienced anything like that, like feeling like, you know, closed in, which not everybody has really had a feel of that, you know. So for that to happen and to make you feel closed, like it really does, you know, fuck with your mind a little bit.
Yeah. No, facts. And you know, now that we're on, you know, the topic of mental health, I kind of want to kind of shift it over to like talking about a little bit about men's mental health, right? So with the men's mental health, do you think that like men's mental health is taken seriously or taken as a joke, in your personal opinion?
I think there's a small amount of people that criticize men for showing their emotion, like being vulnerable, that is louder than the people who really know the importance of feeling your emotions and being, you know, letting go of any, you know, self-felt criticisms and, you know, feeling embarrassed of letting your emotions show, as in crying and or feeling that you know you're having a tough time like thinking things through, like, you know, being a man in this society, or, you know, what's acceptable, what's not acceptable. So I feel like, you know, if you look at social media or even certain people around you, there's certain people that are, I don't want to say pessimistic, but they try to have this, you know, they're pretenders. Like they try to have this like look of like tough guy look, and this persona of like a fake alpha, like making fun of things, like showing your emotions, you know, means that you're a pussy or you're weak or something like that. I think like there's actually really a small amount of people that are like that. But, you know, you from what you watch in movies and, you know, music, sometimes it shows to kind of empower the whole I'm a man, I don't cry, crying's for bitches mentality. And so that small amount of people make a lot of noise. But you know, people like I've learned and like read books on, and I talk to like, I don't want to say real men, but when you talk to authentic people, they know how important it is of men's health, and how important it is to have a conversation with your friend, your family, your brother, to talk about, you know, relationships, arguments, you know, conflicts, and how you feel. How you feel. It's really about how you feel. Being vulnerable, and being vulnerable as in feeling weird talking about a situation because you're scared that you're going to get viewed this way.
Yeah.
Because of who you're telling or other people. And to be able to have a conversation with somebody who's not going to judge you.
Yeah.
Because that's the weirdest thing is we're human, so we're constantly judging things too. But you want to be able to have a conversation that is open, and to have somebody able to walk you through it that's been in a situation. Now you have to be careful because you don't want to, you know, maybe talk about a situation that is very vulnerable with somebody who isn't at that level, or maybe hasn't, you know, thought through when they were in that situation. That's not going to give you their experience in a raw form. Some people just try to like tough, like, I've been through that shit too. That's nothing, blah, blah, blah. Like, you know. Like
shrug it off. Like it's nothing.
Like that's the shit that you're taught, but it really is so important to be able to have a conversation about, you know, what you're feeling, and, you know, am I wrong to feel this way? Is this normal? Have you felt this way? Like, men's health really is definitely joked about. I think you sent me that picture, right? I seen it going around now.
Yeah, so that and it really made me think, because I'm like, damn, like this is true. And, you know, going back to what you said about like you know, the group of people that you know, make fun of, you know, men being vulnerable or men opening up in a certain way. I think it's, in my opinion, I think it's a big group. You know, the majority of people that don't make fun of it is a small group. You know what I mean? You know, when you go back and look at that meme, you look at that post, talks about Will Smith. You know, when he was going through the stuff with Jada, you know, he was in front of the whole world. He watched his wife tell him that she was having an affair, right? People made memes about him, was making fun of it. Yeah, it was a small amount of people that actually felt compassion for him, but majority wasn't. You know what I mean? And then same thing with Tyrese when he was separated from his daughter for years at a time. He expressed, like, you know, he wants to see his daughter. He was breaking down on live, you know, people made fun of him, critiqued him on almost every show, right? And, you know, the Kanye situation, you know what I mean? Kanye, you know, the main thing that they say about him is like, he's crazy, he's this, he's that, right? Because he, you know, he thinks for himself. He, you know, he does things that aren't, you know, of the ordinary, right? You would say, but that is the exact reason why it puts him in the position he's in. You know, he's not who he is. He's not Ye for no reason. You know what I mean? His mentality got him there. Right. So, you know, when I see stuff like even the AB situation where they try to label someone for like showing emotion, right? Because at the end of the day, you know, when we talked about the other day, at the end of the day, like, you can't say, oh, if I would have been in that situation, I would have been like this or been like that, because everybody reacts different based on where they grew up or their experiences that they had, right? You told me that the other day, right? So when people are, you know, saying like, oh, this person's crazy, this person that, labeling people like, or, hey, Will Smith's soft. If I was in his position, I would have did that. Like, this dude is like watching the love of his life express to him that she cheated on him at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Like, why is there not a, you know, a group of people like, why isn't someone supporting him and trying to maybe find him some mental health or have compassion for him? Why is it not compassion for people, especially men that are expressing themselves in that way? You know what I mean? Like I couldn't imagine being in either one of their shoes. You know what I mean? I can't say I would have did the same thing if I was in either one of their shoes because of the experiences they were in. But, you know, I just think the only thing I think is really weird about it is how with the social media and everything that they're so quick to label somebody. Yeah. Like, oh, this dude is soft, or this dude is crazy, or he has mental health issues, you know?
I hate that word crazy. I
Yeah.
hate it. It's because like it's so dismissive. If I call you crazy, then everything you say is not credible. Like I say
Facts.
you're crazy, it's like I'm telling you you're different. Not even that you're different. I'm telling you that what you're saying has no substance and I can't trust your word. It's like a ridiculous thing to say. I just think that people sometimes don't understand what's going on in a relationship, and people like to give their opinion. Like there's a lot of opinionated people, and I I I don't know, but I can bet you that Will Smith and with the Will Smith and Jada thing, that I bet you they're misunderstood.
Yeah.
Like I feel that they have a way more open relationship at a different level than people can't comprehend. Like they have a different view of life, just like how everybody else is. Everybody is in their own dream, your own morals, values, views on everything. So who are you to say that their views are wrong?
Yeah.
Like they have, I bet you they probably have the best relationship ever, better than a lot of people who are in relationships.
Yeah.
So it's like they have a built-in understanding and view of things, and you can see it when they had that conversation in that video.
Yeah.
Or even in, to other people it looks problematic conversations, but it's because you're not there yet either.
Yeah.
It's not even that you're not there yet. It's kind of more of they're at a different phase in their life, and they understand that they're humans and they're always going to be attracted to people. And I believe like it really is what you make it. Like their relationship works for them. They're still together.
Yeah.
So like they have something that people don't probably see. And then with the Tyrese and like that meme that's going around. What was it? It was Tyrese. It was Will Smith.
It was Tyrese, Will Smith, and it was Kanye. It was when Kanye was breaking down. He had, I think he was doing like a Sunday service thing, or he was playing his music, and he started opening up about 'cause his mom passed away. That's when they say that he went crazy.
Okay.
And he was breaking down, and he was talking about his daughter, and that I remember. Like, heck, people just posted memes about him crying. And I was just like, damn, like.
Even Drake said it, bro. It's funny. I was thinking about it. Drake said it in one of his songs. He was like, just because I show emotion doesn't mean that I'm a pussy. Yeah. Like, it literally is so true. I think the more you, like, are open, like Kanye and all that, that's why they're so impactful. Because they're so fucking open. Because they're being themselves. They don't give a flying fuck, like, what you say or what your opinion is. It is so important to have your own fundamental understanding of why you do the things that you do, understanding you and understanding how other people are and how it's going to be reciprocated to the world, but understand that your intentions. That's why people like especially certain actors or famous people in general, bro, they're humans at the end of the day. They're not nothing better than you. Yeah. Like, they might have more cars, but it really is about what you value. Yeah. Oh, you think just because a person has hella money that they are better than you? Be careful. Like, that's a dangerous way to think. And because if you think that, let's say you have money, you think you're hot shit, and you think you're better than somebody, there's going to be somebody else that has more money than you. And so guess what you're going to think? You're going to think that person thinks that they're better than you because of the way you think. Facts. And so it goes forever, because you gotta be careful of your values and how you view people, because it's a double sword. It's not just one way. Like, you're gonna also feel insecure if you meet somebody else who has more things, more materialism. I mean, more materials and money and all that stuff, and that's a dangerous game that you don't want to play. Like, and that's like social media is like, you got to be careful too. Like, you got to really know your values and understand, like, I believe that I'm not better than nobody. I'm not more than anybody. I'm not less than anybody. And I look at that both ways towards everyone. And that's what makes me be more at peace, and I can have more conversations and build friendships with other people that I've seen someone else think that they're better than somebody because they drive this car. But yet you look into that person, you have a conversation, and that person, has no job, lives rent free, and owns like that expensive $50,000 car, and you have a $10,000 car that, you know, does the job that what you need it to do, and you understand that you don't need no hot flashy shit to show off for somebody else, that people at the end of the day don't give a fuck. It's funny when guys get like cars, nice ass cars, and they try to do it for like the girls, but then you realize that you get more compliments from the guys than you do the girls. That's like being at the gym, like, you know, the big ass strong dudes. Like they'll even tell you like, you can even probably speak to it. You get more compliments from guys than you get from girls.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That shit is hilarious, bro. And it's so crazy. Like, you can't, like, it's. I'm not gonna say there's so much wrong with that, because some people, you know, they live for that. You know what I mean? But, you know, you gotta, at the end of the day, you gotta focus on yourself. If you're that infatuated in getting a girlfriend or getting a girl, so you gotta buy all this stuff, wear the chain,
It's a dangerous game.
You have to wear designer. Like, it, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, they're gonna fuck with you or they're not. You know what I mean? Like you being you should be enough. You grinding and you being you should be enough.
Yeah,
And if they don't fuck with it, then fuck them.
Yeah.
You know?
You don't gotta verbally abuse. You're not saying this, but you don't have to verbally abuse somebody. You know, if somebody don't want to fuck with you, but like, you see it all the time too. It's like, you know, like, you know, a guy tries to spit game and the girl's like not having it, and like, well, fuck you then. It's like, I don't know. It's funny, but you don't gotta be a sore loser. Take your loss. Take your loss. You gotta take rejection well.
It's all
That's
good.
funny.
Shooters keep shooting.
Shooters keep shooting. Yeah, you're gonna hit one.
Like,
That's why it's so important to be yourself, though.
Yeah.
Have your views, understand who you are, because if you don't understand and you don't know who you are and why you make decisions, like, you're gonna be open to like people telling you how they view you, because everybody's just sharing their own view.
Yeah.
And if you don't understand why you do the things that you do, then you're gonna be hearing thousands of views, and you're not gonna understand your own like foundation or why you did the things that you do, and you could get lost.
Fact.
Easy like that.
So, you know, that we're still on that same topic. I wanted to ask you, like, what can we do as men to be better when in the aspect of mental health? How can we be better? You know, could we be better at, you know, expressing ourselves? Could we be better at being more vulnerable? Like, what could we be better at?
I think just listen to each other. Just listen to each other, and don't try to judge, good or bad type of conversations. Like, you want to just listen to the person, not judge them, but help the person. If you've experienced something that another man is talking to you about, is to, you know, be raw, be vulnerable, show your emotions or what you were going through at that time, to then give them the feeling of, oh, okay, like, I'm not the only person that's been in this situation before. Like, you'll be surprised a lot of the times in the most problematic situations or thoughts or relationships that somebody else has also been in your shoes. So, like, for men, it's just so important. I believe it's so important to just have a conversation, an open dialogue conversation, and not judge. Don't look to judge. Just listen. Like, we have 2 ears, 1 mouth. Like, you're supposed to listen more, speak less. Like, a wise man once said nothing at all, and I do believe that too. And especially when it comes to men's health, like, having a conversation and just listening, and just listen, because sometimes people just want to speak, and if you're constantly judging and like, oh, really, why you think that, like, oh, are you scared or something, or they try to do this like tough guy shit. But I mean, bro, like, a guy like me now, with like, I'm only 26 years old, but I've been through a lot of conversations, and I've like felt like I lived like 20 lifetimes, as much as a lot of like people that are our age probably feels too. And people that are older in their 40s would tell you, like, when you're 20 years old is one of the most, you know, depending on the person, you're most, you know, you're finding yourself. And I think that's why it's so important to be able to sit down, have a conversation, and just hear the person out.
Yeah, facts. No, that's facts. And whether if ladies, if you're in a relationship with somebody, brothers, sisters, whatever, if someone in your family is open up to you about their mental health, it might be something subtle, it might be something slick, like, I just like, it might be you guys are sitting in the room, your brother or whatever expresses to you, I just feel like I'm just not happy. I'm just I don't know what it is. I feel like I'm kind of depressed, or say it in like a joking way, but dead serious. Like Juan said, you have to listen to those. You got to see those signs, because at the end of the day, like, it might be harder for somebody to express themselves in that way, or to tell someone that, hey, for the past year and a half, I haven't been happy, or I haven't been happy since my grandpa died, or I haven't been happy since so much and so forth, right? So we have to listen. We got to pay attention to the signs, and like Juan said, don't be judgmental. Don't be so quick to judge or to speak. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. So.
And that's really hard too, man, because it's so hard to not judge, because you want to judge. It's almost built in you, especially if you're not aware of it too. Oh, you hear people. We're constantly judging. You can listen to any conversation and you could hear, oh, this sucks. This food sucks, or oh, it's so cold. Looking at it in a negative way, good or bad. Like, we're constantly judging, and you just have to be mindful of that. Mindful that you do judge a lot, and sometimes that takes away the value you can give to somebody if you really want to help them, is removing your judgments. If you get, too much, if you judge somebody too much, you kind of push them away, and they don't want to ever bring up anything to you because they feel like you're going to judge them. So that's why it's really so important to just listen. You got 2 ears, 1 mouth.
Oh, facts. And I'm glad, we're talking about this, like, when I was going through my stuff, especially when it comes to the mental health, when I was going through my stuff, and having someone like that I was able to talk about these things with, and being able to have an outlet, to speak, it really does help, because I'm not much of a talker, right? Especially about, things that I'm going through. But, when I started on that, that downward slope, and I was coming over here and we was chopping it up and, having our cigars, that's, how we came about for this podcast, is because, a lot of times when we got together, we were having deep conversations. We were talking about, in any aspect, like stuff he's going through, stuff I'm going through. He was giving me advice. We're just trading advice, talking to each other. But I think that's so important. If it's anything that you can take from this podcast, like, get someone around you that adds value to you, right? So if there's someone that, has always been there for you, you can feel like you can talk to them, this person, be vulnerable to this person. He can give you valuable advice, not just something that tell you stuff that you want to hear. He's going to tell you the real. Like, if you're wrong, he's going to tell you if you're wrong. If you're right, he's going to tell you, you're right. But, in the aspect of like you opening up to this person and, you guys actually having the conversation, it's so beneficial, because when I was at a low point, having Juan, there to shoot me advice, tell, give me game and stuff like that, it was so beneficial. And it was at a point to where it's like you can go left or right. You can get worse and let whatever is bothering you tear you down, or you can get better and improve your own situation, right? And it was at that crossroad, right? So get someone around you that's gonna be real with you at the end of the day. Like, do you think that's like a critical thing, like, for someone to have, is like have people around you that for sure, like, can not only motivate you, but, at the times where you're at your low point, can guide you in a way,
Man, it's so important to have somebody that's not going to judge you and genuinely like wants the best for you. That's the type of person that you want around. Somebody who's so genuine in the relationship that you guys have, that you want somebody who you can also see it, that that person also wants the best for themselves, and you're constantly seeing your friend constantly achieving and constantly trying to educate themselves, vulnerable when things aren't going great too, and tells you to, like, don't let anything fool you, like the cars or the job. Like, I'm still struggling. Like, it's not, every day is another day. And when you see somebody improving and like doing things that sometimes you get surprised, like, oh, what, he's over here running, or like, oh, he's over here reading books like,
Yeah.
like that. And then to also see that, and then he genuinely also, or she wants to genuinely want to help you, that is like, so it feels right. You want that you want to feel the intentions of the other person that genuinely really wants to help you. So it's so important to have somebody that's gonna be able to listen to you, conversate, and try to give you their experience of what they went through, and maybe see if it can maybe help you. I don't like doing things or saying things and in the words of like quote unquote advice, because then it makes it feel that my way is right and what you're doing is wrong. You start to realize that it's not about necessary. It's not really about learning as as much as actually a lot of unlearning. So sometimes in situations where it's like problematic, or thoughts and ideas or relationships, it's not that you have to learn a lot of things. You have to unlearn a lot, because what you've been doing has not been working, and something that was brought upon you from what you've seen it with your parents. You think that this is the right way to do things, and then you see it be problematic, and sometimes people are like, oh, well, this is the way it is, this is how it's supposed to be. It's not. Nothing's the way it's really supposed to be. You really do create it. I think if there's any problems and you just kind of oh, this is how it's supposed to be, that's not going to be good for you long term.
So do you think, us as adults, like, say, we learn, like you're talking about learning stuff from your family and, your parents and stuff like
even
that.
friends too.
Yeah, even friends. Like, you think learning these things, is it up to us as people, or as men, as women, to break these habits and adults, like, and not pointing the finger like, oh, I'm this way because of my dad, or I'm this way because of my mom. I'm this way in the relationship because that's all I seen growing up. You think it's up to us to break that habit?
Yeah, I believe it is. I think you have to be careful. I think it's good to be aware that, what, I've seen my parents argue for years, hate each other, be depressed, mad, but they never left each other. They stayed there for us, for the kids. And then, you try to have that same mentality with your next relationship, and then you kind of do little things that are similar. But sometimes people are like, oh, I don't want to be nothing like my dad. I don't want to be nothing like my mom. And you know what? They end up being exactly like their mom and exactly like their dad, because they never changed their habits, or maybe wasn't aware enough. So you have to really be conscious and aware that, what, I learned this habit from my dad, but it's not your dad's fault. Your dad, he probably learned that from his dad, and then his dad learned it from. It's like a trickle, like it's a domino effect of, the way things were taught. So you have it's be mindful of where you got that habit from, but then also now it's up to you to now break and create a new pathway and break that habit. And sometimes it takes time. Sometimes it'll just be a choice. You make a choice one day that, I'm going to listen to my spouse instead of constantly judging them and judging the messenger. I'm going to listen to the message, not just the messenger. I'm going to have actual respect for that person and be able to listen to her view. Like, one of the biggest things that helped me, I remember somebody telling me, and by the way, I was doing the same thing that was problematic. They told me that they had a conversation one time. It was like a couple. It was two ladies, their partners, and she was telling me that there was a time where one of them was taking a situation very, very personally.
Mm-hmm.
And the other person would be like, why are you making it that much of a big deal? It's not even a big deal. And then I remember her telling me, well, yeah, it's not a big deal to you, but it's a big deal to me. And when I heard that, I was like, that's so true. It's like, you know, to me, it might not be a big deal, but to you, it's huge. So who the fuck am I to be like, oh, it's not a big deal. Brush it off or look at it different, whatever. Like, no, that person, it means something to them. They're taking it personally. So you have to give them the choice and the realization to realize, like, you know what, hey, this is a big deal to you, but why is this such a big deal? And then you kind of break it down why you think that's useful. Is that good for you? Do you get off on that? Like, would you like to change this, or do you want to just be in the same cycle? So like, it's so important to not take things so personally, and to be able to be aware of the habits, and to you have the choice to change it.
Yeah, facts. No, that's facts. Hey, my boy. Hey, on the daily, Juan be dropping gems. I'm trying to tell y'all, Juan be dropping the gems. But no, that's most definitely important,
and bro, I
man.
make the same mistakes too. Like everything that I say in this podcast, I still, even certain things I say, I follow everything I say. But sometimes, a lot of times, I get distracted and I lose track. And I'll read a book that I had gained the philosophy or the words or the way of life that I feel fits me, and I'll be like, oh my God, I'm doing that again. Like, I'm taking things personally. Like, a lot of things that I do, everything I say, everything I talk about, I do. And I might not do it consistent. Sometimes I fail. Sometimes I make mistakes. A lot of times that I'm wrong. But it's okay for all that. We're all humans. Like, we're not robots. We're not built like robots.
But you gotta understand, like this is a lifelong journey. There's never gonna be a point to where you're not growing anymore.
Yeah.
You're always gonna be reading. You're always gonna be learning. You're always gonna try to get better in some way.
Right.
'Cause even if you're doing everything that you think that you're doing right, there's always something that you can improve in. You know what I'm saying? Whether if it's physically, mentally, spiritually, any aspect, right? This is always gonna be. It's gonna be a grind. It's a grind. It's a lifelong grind.
Yeah.
You will never be done, because we can always be better.
It's so true, man. Like, well, one more thing that I was reading the book, The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz, and one chapter that I love, or one of the agreements, was to not take things so personally. That chapter is so good because it's not about not only not taking what other people say personally, but then also you not taking your thoughts personally as well. Like, you constantly punishing yourself for a mistake that you made in the past. Like, you already dealt with it at that point. You've already, been punished. You embarrass yourself, whatever, in that situation or when you were wrong. And you don't need to. Us humans are the only species that are able to rethink, situations that we made a mistake and repeatedly punish ourselves within our mind. Like, feel that whole same embarrassment, the pain, the sadness, the depression. Like, and we're the only creatures that can really do that and really think. And like, the chapter not taking things personally helped me be so more at peace and at calm with people, because everybody is in their own dream. So it's so easy to take things personally in this world. And Michael Jordan's documentary does not help, but he used it perfect though as a motivation. Like, he took things personally. And man, messed up my thought.
I know.
Yeah,
The Mario sound.
I was gonna say we could probably edit this, but I was like, or not. That's a fresh ass ringtone. Power up, baby.
Chill out.
I know, but yeah, how I was saying, not taking things so personally. That's like one of the Don Miguel Ruiz, The Four Agreements. That shit really changed my life and my philosophies. I look towards that, like, and that's like my quote unquote Bible, but I'm just using that word to make the impact is huge from that book for me.
Yeah.
Like, the way of life is very at peace within the context of in that book.
Okay. That boy said Bible. He said, I looked at the double take, like, excuse me.
Wait,
But no, I completely understand what you're saying. You know, like the impact that it has on you, just in the same sense. So some people might understand, but you know, like, one thing I can ask you, an aspect of just growth in general, because just from see, even like 6 months ago, you now is a different person. What advice can you give to our audience, like in an aspect of growth? What advice can you give them to stay on that path or to push to be better? Like what advice can you give them in just like their everyday life?
I believe, which is my constant battle, is like being present in the moment. Is like, be happy with what you have, be very conscious of who you are and where you're trying to go. And sometimes that's hard, like knowing what you want to do for your, like, the rest of your life, what job, career, what city you want to be in. I think to be able to, have open conversations with the people closest to you and talk to them about questions that you don't have answers for yet, and asking those questions to a bunch of people that can potentially help you, then to find who you are or your path. Because I think it takes a lot of trial and error, like going through the motions, let the world kind of push you around a little bit, but, make sure you keep ground, keep your balance, and to find what is truly passionate, find something that you're truly passionate about. And I hate using that word too, because it's not that easy. And it really is like finding like what you like to do. Find out what you like to do. Find out how money works. People don't know how money works. And sometimes you get caught up in the rat race of buying, luxuries, the house, the apartment, the job title, all these other things that people measure themselves on how successful they are. It's like defining what success is to you. Everybody has their own definition of real. Everybody has their own definition of authentic, fake, phony, all these like success. I think you have to find what's true to you. Like, find out what are the things that you like. Because I can promise you there's millions of people that also like what you are passionate and excited about. So it's like, take the time to really dig deep on the things that you like, the things that give you joy, and things that give you peace. Like, focus on like being kind, showing love to people, saying good morning to that person that never says good morning back at work, because you want to share that love and that light, and they might not see it, and they might not have somebody like that. They might be going through a tough time. It's like giving, being at peace, showing love, and genuinely wanting people to be happy, and for you to genuinely want to be happy, is, I feel, you want to help uplift and be the light for other people at the same time. Just do the things that you love to do, quote unquote. But really, it could be the most simplest thing. Like, you can really, you like to draw, you can literally create and make and monetize your drawings and make money. You could literally be at home drawing all day, do the other things that you like to do, be with your family. I think you have to really see what your definition of successful, or your definition of what your purpose is. Like, make it simple.
Yeah.
Make it real simple. It doesn't have to be complicated. That's one of the things I've been learning. That's one of the things that helped me do this podcast with you is like make it simple.
Mm-hmm.
It's conversation. We're talking. I'm not an expert. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not no guru. I'm not no, I'm not none of these titles you can't throw on me. Like I'm me. I'm just doing what the hell I like to do and talk about what I feel I'm passionate about and what I've seen help other people, but help me. So I think stay in your circle of competence. Understand what's in that circle, what you like to do, and focus on all the positive things in life, because there's way more positives than there really is negatives. But we're human, so you're constantly taught survival. And sometimes, you have to be aware of the way you think. If you be aware of how you think, why you think, and what impacts you, and why, evolution and kind of like the history of psychology and stuff like that has led for a lot of people to be now, quote unquote, living unhealthy lives according to other people. But, to make it really simple, it's like, do the things that you enjoy, that you're happy, that feels like play. You want to get back to like that child in you and just have fun. Yeah. Because it's simple. It really is that simple, but it's hard. Like I'm still working on it. Every day is a new day for me where I have to bring myself to that. Like it's not easy.
Yeah.
Like I have to wake up and I'm not in the best mood all the time. I'm not 100% every time. Like I'm still sick, like not sick, but I'm still recovering. Like, you know what I mean? And I still look at life with a positive outlook, even with the worst, quote unquote, terrifying situations. If you have somebody like in your life, in your family, that's going through a health crisis, or even you, or anxieties of problems and thoughts of the past or decisions or for the future or your health, like it's always good to remind yourself to be in the moment. Like you're okay, you're safe right now, you're good.
Facts.
Like enjoy the moment.
No, facts. Yeah, but I think that's going to wrap it up for episode 3. I just want to say shout out to all you guys that, liked and subscribed on Instagram. I appreciate all you guys for tapping in with us. Me and Juan are very thankful for you guys. We're going to keep growing, keep, producing better content for you guys, and we're going to keep getting better. All right. So thank you. And we appreciate y'all for tapping with us for episode 3 of Self Revelations.
Sheesh.